Hi, everybody, and welcome to PEMA TV.
Welcome to Friday, June 27th, 2014. June is almost over.
Yes, it is. Be sure and visit our main sponsor here at PEMA TV, as it has been for the last almost a year.
Almost a year.
Powered by Metaluna Boutique and Stones. Even though one of our guests does run a competing metaphysical type shop, we'll let her get by with that for just tonight.
But mine is boutique and stones.
Boutique and stones, that's right.
It's not just all metaphysical.
And be sure and like us on Facebook. Tell your friends. Because for some reason, Pair Encounters has become very popular this week. I've had 10, 15, 20 people a day. Ooh. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't know what up with that. But tonight, we have two very special guests.
We do.
Yep. And they both actually happen to be hosts here, too. That's an amazing feat.
Yeah, we don't know any of them people.
But tonight, and we only like a few of them. Luckily, we like these two.
Yeah, we like these.
We like these two.
Well, one of them is a troublemaker, but the other one I don't know well enough to call her a troublemaker yet.
Right.
But tonight we are talking, and Candy, correct me if I'm wrong with this, Meehan?
Meehan.
Candy Meehan and Sheri Collins, and these two ladies are the brain and driving force behind the National Paranormal Society. So, hi guys, how are you?
Hey. I'm good. I'm good too. Good evening, Eric. Good evening, Sheri.
Hello, everybody. It's the troublemaker, as I was called.
Hey, I'm liking you better, Sheri. Candy didn't even say hi to me.
I did hi.
Well,
No, it's too late now. You said hi to Sheri.
Okay, I'm going to throw a ball of yarn between you three if you don't quit. All right.
Creating trouble.
And it's almost, hey, you know what? It's almost like we haven't talked since like last night.
I know, right?
No, it's a long time.
Ever.
But we wanted to have you guys on because, well, for a couple of reasons. One, y'all are fun to talk to. Two, you talk about the subject intelligently. That's always important. And three, you guys are doing something very important, and I know our viewers just saw it when I flashed it up there with Project Endeavor, because that is it's not a first, but it's the first time it's been done with a large group of investigators. There are a lot of websites and people, I think, that have been tracking databases before, but nobody's ever tried to do it in a public forum type way.
Well, part of the reason we're launching it the way we are is because of the diversity and the groups and the individuals coming to us. It's very difficult to launch a project like this just with one or two groups in unison. So hopefully, we've got a foothold worldwide now. We have representatives all over the UK, Canada, Africa, and certainly hundreds and hundreds of teams listed on the website throughout the United States. It's a very well-known fact that if we can gather some standardized information, we can come up with some baselines. We can start making some decisions and discoveries as to even where to start. And the information is, all HIPAA consensual. We don't ask specifics about the individual. Basically, you're looking at, a 35-year-old Caucasian or male or female or whatever. We talk very briefly, yes, no questions about your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual affiliation. And then we get the metrics on your site and your location. We do it by zip code, and we pull in the weather by month, date, year, and time you're conducting the investigation. We take into consideration the structures that you're investigating, whether it's near railroad tracks in an open field, and we're going to run that against the U.S. Geological Survey to see what kind of mineral deposits there could be possibly in that area. And these are all going to be anonymously submitted by teams that are listed on our website. We are gonna lock it down to that. Anyone is welcome to participate in Endeavor as long as they're listed on our website. We want to have some control and some accountability. teams that are charging for investigations will not be using Endeavor, because that is not what I'm about. It's not what the project's about. It's not what NPS is about. There's, and this whole idea, it took shape and it came alive when I brought it to the reps. They've been amazing in helping it, develop, and I'm thrilled. I'm so excited.
You do know where this is going to end up, right?
CNN?
Well, no, actually, I can foresee a day where, like, specifically here in the DFW area, you're going to have like the Channel 8 news. You'll have the news of the day. Then you'll have like sports. Then you'll have weather, and then right after that, the ghostologist will come on and say, the relative humidity tonight is conductive to having paranormal. Yeah, you see. Because but that's funny. That's funny, and people giggle. But that's going to be some conclusions that you may or may not be able to draw with enough data. That with a higher relative humidity, there are more anomalous activities with higher sunspot activity. Whatever. I mean, this is stuff that people kind of have theories about now, but there's not enough collected data for them to stand on.
And that's another thing, mineral deposits, ley lines, underwater or underground aquifers, those types of things. That can be determined through the U.S. Geological Survey, because we're not taking in specifics on the location, and we're just taking in a zip code. We can get a topographical idea of what is under that area. If there's any concentrated deposits, with the medical intake, we can see if we're having a spike with people with PTSD having experiences, people, postpartum depression, or if it's people, with no mental illnesses or, these types of things. And it's not, are you suffering from this now, or it's, have you ever experienced? So, and it, we do the same thing with the medical, cardiology, traumatic brain injury. We're trying to narrow it down to see if there's any specific group that this spikes in. It's we've got to figure something out. I mean, we've got thousands of teams out there running their own agendas. We're not any further today than they were in when Hans Holzer and the Warrens were investigating Amityville. We really aren't. The DeFeos, seriously, we're still running on supposition and gut instinct. And, that's something that, we battle a lot on the NPS website. People post, people making statements instead of, asking questions, that they feel that it is this way. Well, okay, help me understand why you feel that way. What kind of evidence or theory? What is your theory behind your substantiation? And a lot of people are so emotionally tied to their capture or to their opinion, they're incapable of stepping back and looking at it from a different perspective. And until we can actually do that, do it unbiased, we're in a gridlock. We really are.
Well, we've got to start opening people's minds, and I think that's what Project Endeavor is really going to start kicking off, is people are going to start seeing why exactly we ask the questions that we ask, why we look for the information that we look for. It's a matter of people on their own seeing something and being open enough to change their minds. And, we've made the statement time and time again, NPS isn't for everybody. So if you're going to come in closed-minded, then you're not coming in really ready to find a solution, ready to be a part of the education process. And Endeavor, I think, is going to really throw us down that path. We'll have forms for people to fill out for them to think about what they're supposed to be doing on their investigation in order to have that data put into Endeavor. So I think it's really going to wake some people up to, I want to say common sense type things, but open them up to be more open-minded in looking at how they investigate and what they're actually collecting. We have teams out there that don't even establish baselines. They don't even look at the weather, give any consideration to other things going on. And it's obvious when they're posting pictures and you can see it has something to do with the humidity in the air, or it has something to do with something that they should have measured and taken a baseline on.
Absolutely. And another frustration is people bring pictures to the site and they're unwilling to substantiate their capture. If you can't tell me what day or what month and what year it was taken, if you can't tell me the location, you know, it's just that. It's just a picture. You know, people taking pictures in the dark. You know, pareidolia is rampant, and that's one of the questions. You know, on the physical assessment. You know, do you have corrected vision or do you wear hearing aids? You know, those are the things we should be taking into consideration. You know, I didn't go down the line about psychotropic medications or anything like that, but, you know, we do a drug screening too. Have you ever done this or that? Or, you know, it's questions we should be asking, not only to protect the clients, but to have a really clear view. I have to tell you, I was real startled when I found out one of the team's intake processes was a question about how much do they know about demons and hauntings. It took me back a little. You know, I asked, you know, how influenced they are by the TV shows and what they watch, you know, because that can really give you a very clear picture as to their education and possibly their needs for the attention, you know?
Right.
And it's gotten to the point where, you know, we're sitting here looking at a big old haystack and it's all paranormal. Well, if it's all paranormal, then nothing is. You know, we're looking for that needle, that one picture in a million. And I pray to God that one picture in a million is a series of 3 or 4 or 5 or somebody doing their due diligence. Because with the technology we have out there now, it is almost completely made the use of any photographic evidence useless.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, us talking about it last night on DNS Live and actually looking at what has happened to photography since digital cameras have come about. You know, this week on NPS, if you guys were paying attention, we put up pictures that were pre-digital cameras. And, you know, we did it in an effort to make people think, because a lot of times when a picture is posted, people think it's fake, it's Photoshopped, it's a ghost app. Well, you know, back in 1942, they didn't have that. So now we're making people stop and actually think and come out of the box and try to debunk that picture. And that's how we need to be approaching everything. We can't just jump on the bandwagon that everything that appears in a picture is paranormal, because there's probably a logical explanation for it.
Absolutely. And that's, you know, I think what frustrates many people is there are logical explanations. And when you start asking them more qualifying questions, you know, you get met with a lot of resistance, because automatically people assume you're calling them a liar. And to me, you know, that's a horrible character flaw. You know, I don't assume anyone's lying to me at all. What I ask for is an explanation of how you see it as paranormal, and teach me, show me how you see it as paranormal, so that we can help validate and establish your claim together. But that's a work in progress. You know, it's a tandem exercise.
Yep.
And you know, we get inundated with fan page questions that just take us back to the beginning. You know, we're trying to get NPS out of the sandbox.
Yeah. Well, and just so you guys know, I wore my tight T-shirt tonight. Just because I know you guys are both Zach affiliates, I got a tight T-shirt, and I'm wearing a tight T-shirt for y'all tonight, just so you know.
That's awesome.
Well, that changes the whole format of this show there. Woo-hoo.
What's a different kind of paranormal?
You can ask
Kim. Be like the
you can ask Kim. It's not all that. It's really not all that.
No. And the thing is, you know, the credibility. I mean, we're compromising the credibility of our scientific basis every time one of those shows comes on TV.
That's right.
I'm sorry. Now, if you have a show on PBS, the public broadcasting system, I'm more inclined to pay attention to it, because they're not pulling in $20,000 an episode.
It's a higher ethical standard, and it's not even about the pay, because some shows are paid. I mean, there is salaries on PBS, but it's a higher ethical standard, and it has always been held to a higher ethical standard. It's not. It doesn't claim to be something it's not, like some of the shows some of the shows started out claiming to be, this is how you do it. You go back and look at the first couple of seasons of Ghost Hunters. They almost claimed to be the way to do it, and this is how you should do it. And they got a little bit into procedure. After that, I guess the viewership dropped on those episodes. So then it started getting all to the shirt tugging and all the other crap that they've been.
Well, and quite frankly, they were also going into locations and saying, we got absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
After the second year, they got something every week.
Yeah, and it was a demon. See, and that's fear mongering too. That's a whole other conversation, but that's fear mongering.
Well, yeah. Well, and you know, and you got your individuals who are devout in their religion, who are almost appalled at trying to take into consideration that it's something scientific.
Yeah.
You know, I can't begin to tell you how many times I've had somebody snap at me about being godless, and you know, it's kind of ironic because I'm Wiccan. I have many gods. Maybe not yours, but you know, I have my spirituality, and I don't come in here, you know, swinging my wand around, screaming bibbidi bobbidi boo every time I see an orb, because you know, dust particles per cubic inch it's an astronomical amount. I can sit here and tell you, I can take a flash on a camera, and almost everything has a surface. You know, it's the possibility of it reflecting, or 99.9 carried on out %. And these are things we can explain away, but people are so emotionally desperate for something to be angelical or, you know, or paranormal that everything is, and it's a mockery of what we do. You know, you see those little posts on Facebook, you know, what my friends think I do, what society thinks I do.
Right.
You know,
What my mom thinks I do.
yeah, they don't see, you know, you go in there and do an investigation, you work your ass off, and it's not a one-time thing in there. There's you know, pre-investigation interview, there's the pre-walkthrough, there's the determination of the research, you know, and then there's the prepping of the team. You know, you can be there 8-10 hours, and it can be a site that you go over and over and over again for a year. You know, I think it's glorified, you know.
Yeah, people think this is a TV show and they get it done in an hour. They've walked into this location and all of a sudden the location came alive and now we've got an hour's worth of video. Folks, it doesn't work that way. They have filmed there for a week, first off of that one episode, where the rest of us go in. We may hit a location 2 or 3 times before we get anything. And it's just, you know, people don't really think about, we've spent, 4 or 5 hours recording on 4 to 8 cameras, and we've got to review all of that information, and we may get something, and we may not. And we may have to go back again and do it again. It's not this glorified work that you walk in and all of a sudden your meters are lighting up and you're getting EVPs and you're getting something thrown at you or you're getting touched. It doesn't work like that. You don't just go in and, you know, it's not like you're going and paying for a show for an actor to, you know, entertain you. It's not like that at all.
Well, and they don't realize how much of what they're actually doing out there for the shows is edited and on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're basically getting 42 minutes of a 7-day investigation.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's all about ratings. It's all about making it look pretty and be suspenseful. It's about ratings. You know, Zach Baggins doesn't do this because he's in love with the paranormal and that he, you know, he can't help himself. He gets $20,000 at least an episode as an actor. An actor, that's what his resume says. He's an actor and an executive producer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you got people.
Go ahead.
You know, you got people, you know, not questioning the credibility of Grant. You know.
Well, hey, and let's just be honest with it. There's people that are involved in the community that are not on TV that take it too far. Like going to any kind of convention and somebody has proudly put on the banner of their group deal as seen on YouTube. Well, okay, who isn't?
Well, and then you have the one founder up in Michigan, I won't mention his name, who has been on multiple shows saying, if you do not investigate exactly the way I do,
Right.
the times I do, the locations I do, blah, 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 then you are not a paranormal investigator and you need to get out of this field now.
I don't watch any of those shows, and I mean, I don't watch any of those shows. So I don't even know who you're talking about. Who would say something like that?
No, I'm talking about the internet radio shows.
Yeah,
Oh.
it gets very much big fish. It gets very much big fish, little pond very quickly because we have been around PEMA TV. You guys are actually on probably our 150th episode or something. Pretty close to it.
I don't know. We've been doing this for 5 years, so no, it's more than that.
Yeah, I mean we've talked to a lot of people, and we've been around the community a long time, and we're not going to say we've seen it all.
Well, we've seen it all.
We've seen a bunch.
Well, we've actually met the guy from Michigan, so I can say that without.
You know, I have no tolerance for that kind of crap because there's so many variables. Give me a break.
Yeah, and if you can't. That's when you start getting almost religious about paranormal investigation.
Well, this is the same guy who went to OSPH with a dry erase board, going from room to room, asking whatever to write on the board, and then got upset when he got no drawings on the board at all.
Okay.
You know, bless his heart.
Yeah, bless his little pea-picking heart.
But if we don't do it his way, then we need out of the field because we're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Everybody gets their messages or their baselines.
You know, if he's doing it so right, then how come Stanford and Harvard and Yale haven't gone, oh my goodness, look at what you've done? Because he hasn't done shit.
Well, if he was doing it
Nailed it.
right, how come he went through 68,000 square feet and didn't get one scribble on his board?
And how can you go through 68,000 square feet of OSPH and not get anything?
Dude, that's some pretty bad metrics when a Harry Krishna can go through LAX and get something.
Right?
Right? But I mean, that is a problem, and once again, that is why it's so refreshing to have you guys on the NPS involved with PEN, because you guys are kind of drawing a line in the sand, and it's refreshing to see. It's something that needs to be done, and I understand, trust me, I understand the trials and tribulations of fighting the fans. You need them to a certain degree, but then to a certain degree, you want to just say, now come on, let's think. But so many people, free thought and free thinkers, that's almost a superpower. It's like common sense.
People don't want to think anymore. It hurts them. We got 600 comments on the question, ghost hunters or, G or whatever. I could have cried. I wouldn't mind the sheep. Above that was a conversation about UFOs and some other thing. I mean, semantics. People wonder what's happening to our children. Well, we're too involved with the boob tube to try to make them think. People want to, they have this hero syndrome. They're showing up with a digital recorder and a flashlight on their head. And we got demons, and we're going to exorcise them. And you're talking about the fear mongering. What really concerns me is, about 65% of the calls we get that my team got were people that had traces and significant, or they had mild to profound diagnoses of mental illness, and it just perpetuates. And I think we're doing a disservice. I think there's a lot of very dishonest people, I think they're thrill seekers. Personally, if you showed up at my house if I called you in to do a paranormal investigation and you showed up at my house, with your, affiliate t-shirt on saying, here's my DVR and here's my flashlight, let's go find you a demon, I swear to God, I'd lock you in the attic until the police got here. I would. I'm not an uneducated individual. I'm not ignorant. I'm by certain, I'm by far not the smartest berry on the bush. It was kind of ironic because when I launched Endeavor, I met criticism and resistance right away. You can't do that. No. I think they thought I sat up one night with my notebook and said, "Hey, watch this shit." Seriously. And it's, I know,
Hold
it was something
Hold my beer.
They're not right. Look at there. Hold my beer. God. Somebody saying, "Oh, this can't be successful because of this," and you couldn't have possibly thought about that. No. I I couldn't have possibly talked to doctors and lawyers and
Well,
other
why would
members.
you do that?
I know, right?
Why would
And
you want to do that?
I know, right? It's not like I got my crap in a row before I started at this, you know. And you know, I was in professional sales most of my life, and you know, grossing $800 $1 million a year in sales easily. So I know how to approach people, and I know how to qualify the questions I need to ask, and I know how to do it politely. That was one of the reasons Eric Hudson, when I got involved with NPS, Eric snapped me up pretty quickly, because I can diffuse situations, and I can go in there and you know, be very neutral and not disrespectful, but I can drive a conversation if I need to. That's where you know, when I first got in here, you know, NPS was much smaller and, you know, much more serious. When I closed the group a couple months ago, we got 16,000 members like that in Sheri, in 8 weeks. It was
not
crazy.
less.
It's crazy. And you know, I've even considered reopening the group so that people who were paranoid to post where everybody could see their silly crap would be, you know, exposed. I don't necessarily want to out members, but I don't want them posting a picture of a kid under a sheet on my page.
Right?
That pissed me off. Seriously, if you need to go make fun of somebody, I mean, don't be brave behind a keyboard, my darling. You know, go kick a puppy. Go push a kid. You know, seriously. Go to therapy.
Well, and you know, it's kind of like we call them our fan club members, because they want to come in and they want to poke fun at what those of us who are serious are doing. And when we try to push a more educational topic or try to show them, you know, no, that really was a camera anomaly or something that happened with your camera, they don't want to hear it. Well, you know what? If you're not going to be serious enough to sit down with us and look at this and try to further this field, then you know what? I'm going to go back to NPS isn't for everybody, and maybe you need to hit the door, because the rest of us are focused on pushing this forward. We're ready to make something of the paranormal community. We're tired of the drama. We're tired of everybody making fun of us for doing stuff. We're tired of people jumping on threads saying, oh my God, it's evil, it's demonic. You really don't know what you're talking about. And, you know, it's almost, and I hate to say it, but it's almost like we have uneducated people in the paranormal that want to come out and tell us how to do our jobs when we're actually doing the research. And we're actually trying to go back and debunk that photo or figure out what really happened, or we're asking tougher questions. You know, I got called rude the other night because I was asking 20 questions. I'm sorry, my mom and my dad taught me in order to learn, you have to ask questions to understand stuff. If that makes me rude, I'm not going to apologize for it.
Yeah,
well, there's also a huge difference, and we've said this before, I know on several of our shows. There's a huge difference between being a cynic and a skeptic. A skeptic will give you a suggestion to improve your experiment, give you their opinion of why you didn't think you worked, but will at least offer suggestions to the best of their abilities to correct what they may perceive as a problem. A cynic is the one that comes in there being an internet troll and says, I hate you and I hate your mother.
Oh, right. Right.
You feel with that?
Oh, yeah, I've been called everything. I had one man chastise me because of my cold talk on his thread because I was quoting the members roast him. And he asked me who the hell I thought I was. I was like, it's my page.
Right?
Yeah, it pissed me off. He goes, who do you think you are? I was like, the director? Yeah, because at that time I had promoted you guys to that. And he was like, well, give me your boss. There's got to be some man. Oh. No, there's no man. Sorry.
It's like, you know, you're in my sandbox. You're going to follow my rules.
Well, and none of our rules, you know, that really irritates me too, because, I mean, we have a very well thought out members packet. And it's very basic, you know, be nice, don't be disrespectful, don't call names, you know, and you don't have to cuss. If you got to cuss to get your point across, then it's not a very intelligent thought anyway. You know, and just be respectful. If you don't agree and you can't stand what's being said, then stand aside. Be a big kid, you know? Doesn't mean you have to get on there and...
we're asking you to do what your mom told you.
Right, well, just, you know, and if you don't want to be asked questions, then don't post anything. Simple as that. Seriously. We're trying to move forward. This isn't the beginner's box. You know, this is, you know, we're trying to raise the bar. If you're coming in and you want to learn, come on in. Roll up your sleeves. We're going to do our best. Please utilize the website. It has got so much good information on there. The website has doubled since. Yeah, it's doubled since I took over in December. We've got so many articles, so much stuff. There are so many resources there if you just are willing to read. But I think people have a hard time. Yeah, photography department is blown up. Yeah, it's huge.
Sheri won't let me put my team in there.
Why?
Because she's mean like that.
She can be. She's a diva.
I am the diva. Come on, whatever.
I just want to throw this out there real quick. No duck faces are allowed on PEN. I just want to throw that out there.
We don't do duck faces. Those aren't very ladylike.
All right. My daughter did that. And I was like,
Have you guys, and something else that I think that begs to be talked about a little bit is how people can be very single-minded when it comes to occult or paranormal, because that's another word that's gotten a really bad rap as a cult, because a cult used to just mean anything outside of science, basically. And you know,
like the paranormal?
Paranormal is outside of normal. So anyway, I've never understood how people can be so single-minded. Like, oh yeah, I believe in ghosts and demons and angels and everything too, but the crazy ass Bigfoot people? No, I can't believe none of that. That's got to be fake. Give me a break. You know, give me a break.
Well, you know, like UFOs, like we're talking about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe in ghosts, but I don't believe in aliens. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm okay.
Well,
you know,
you've got NASA talking. You know, NASA trying to cover stuff and talking about it. You've got, like you said last night, Candy. You've got presidents talking about it. We can give, you know, a little more credence to aliens and UFOs than we can ghosts and hauntings. But you can't believe in that.
Well, you know, the cryptozoology, you know, that's kind of close to my heart because of where I live in Colorado and just part of my heritage. You know what I mean? There are things out there they can't explain. Look at the rainforest. Dude, they're discovering tens of thousands of new organisms every single year. And it's amazing. We still don't know what's on this planet because, you know, we're egotistical maniacs. You know, we think we are the end-all, be-all of it all. You know, even though we're not even, you know, we're so infinitesimal out in the universe. I mean, seriously, I mean, if I was an alien and I looked at our planet, it'd be like cancer in another being's body, because what positive do we do? I mean, we're eating up our world, we're putting nothing back, we're wrecking our environment. I mean, what really is the purpose of us? I mean, and if we are created in the image of God, how much longer until he throws us an asteroid to start all over? I mean, seriously, Justin Bieber. That's the reason right there for a big old to hit us.
Well, you know, they have to throw a Bieber or a Cyrus out there every once in a while to show us exactly how not to be.
Dude, what does Disney do to those little girls?
How do you guys know they're not aliens? Come on.
Well, I think Michael Jackson might have been. Actually, I think he was LaToya Jackson in drag. I don't know. But there was something paranormal about that for sure.
I think there was something abnormal about that for sure. I don't know about paranormal.
Yeah, it's not normal.
And only if the monkey can talk, right? But, you know...
and Mr. Bubbles.
Mr. Bubbles.
That was his name.
You know, that's I appreciate what you guys are doing. I just want to say this. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Like I said, it's refreshing for those of us that have been around for a long time. And I'm sure there's a lot of more people watching you guys than you think. Especially since you have 25,000 members, that makes you a very strong voice. Because there's some of those fan pages that you were talking about that don't have 25,000 people on them. So,
well, and we're interactive all the time. So you've got some groups out there that have large numbers, but they're not interactive. They're not constant on their page 24/7. You know, we started off as National Paranormal Society, but now we've kind of tapped into the international, And, we've got people from all over the world now coming to NPS, and we're talking and we're, comparing experiences and techniques and that type of thing. So the one thing about NPS is it is its own body. It's a growing organism every day. A lot of pages can't say that.
And we have so much going on behind the scenes. People have no idea. On the NPS website, you see that we have department chairs and different divisions. But what you guys don't see is we have an entire photography team. We have an entire science team. We have training and documentation that the reps have to go through before they're even allowed on the page. We actually have, we've actually been given the opportunity, rephrase this. I was actually asked by a surviving member of a case that Hans Holzer did, and we are doing a private review of all of his information and all of the medical information and data that was submitted for that case. We've got so much junk going on. And there's not one of our reps. Yeah, there's not one rep on there that's not outstanding in some way or another. They're all amazing. We've got Alexander. He amazes me with all the things, just as far as occult goes and theology and religion goes, he is so educated. If he does not have an opinion or have resources to cite, he will go find them. We've got Rob Hillstrom, who's an engineer for NASA. We've got Ken, he's a webmaster, and getting his MBA, he's amazing. David Malin, he works for the Ministry of Defense. It's just amazing. I couldn't be any prouder of the group of people that have come together. And they're all working towards a common goal. And everybody's kind of above, all of them are absolutely above that BS line. Nobody's saying, oh my God, it's an orb of Elvis. Instead they're going, what makes you think that's an orb of Elvis? And honestly, when you ask those qualifying questions, it tells you more about the individual posting than the individual objecting.
Yeah, which when it comes to the pictures that you guys are talking about, I'm pretty sure you're glad that EVPs aren't as easily put on Facebook as a picture.
Yeah.
Because I think, as much as I hate to say this, I think that is one of the biggest misconceptions because of the shows, is what is really acceptable audio evidence. I mean, Sheri did a great show last couple of weeks talking about photography and talking about how lens flares are created and camera fungus and all the other things that can go into what makes a picture, as opposed to just jumping to the fact that your great Aunt Ellen or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been sent some and as much as I say this, some absolute garbage recordings that people think are just, like War and Peace. And I'm sorry, it's not. I don't hear what you hear.
Well, and that's another thing NPS has designed with the Endeavor Project is the third-party peer review. People are allowed to submit, a piece of evidence, whether it's 30 seconds of video, 30 seconds of audio, or 3 still photos. You get to submit one of each if you want. And then we have a few members selected, a few people that will never be revealed, who do a third-party review on that. And then we have one person, who's Alexander, who will present the findings back. He'll be the one to respond to them privately, saying that, it was conclusive or it was not conclusive. And what we're looking for, and I promise you it's going to be after 1,000 hours of audio or 1,000 hours of video or 10 million pictures, we are looking for that one conclusive piece. That one conclusive piece, and it'll stand on its own 2 feet. It really will. And that's because we're not accepting substandard.
Right.
We're not going to accept anything substandard. This is the elite of the elite that we want. And I think no matter whether it comes from, some lady in, Manitoba, or if it comes from some man, in Tijuana, I don't care. I don't care if it comes from Beijing. That's all we need. And that one piece of evidence can open that gate to the proving there's life after death. I mean, all of us are convinced that it's there anyway. because of our personal convictions, our spiritual convictions. And let's be honest, I wouldn't be working my ass off on this if I didn't think there was.
Well, what would you say that one of the, with that being said, would you say that one of the driving forces for the MPS is to be able to provide repeatability?
Oh, God, that would be one. Well, that's part of the reason for the Endeavor Project.
Right.
We want to see if we can consistently get the same readings in different areas. Yes, we'd like to be able to repeat results. And I really don't think that's going to be with photographic evidence. Not just because of the subjectivity of it, just because of the modifications that can be made. Snap me some Polaroids. I'm down with Polaroids, you know what I mean? Just because it's harder to manipulate them. But still, you have questionability in the quality of the film. I mean, there's so many stones to turn over. There's so many objections to overcome. Like I said, we'll know it when we see it. Because I know in my 3 years at NPS, I bet I've seen 500,000 pictures. I bet I have, in consideration everything that's been put on the site and everything that's been sent to me privately. And I bet there's a handful that I couldn't explain, but that also couldn't be substantiated by the individual who produced them to me either, because there was nothing in succession, and that's something I think that we have been trying to educate and to convey to our members and to our reps. Pictures in succession, more than one, take 3, every single time, and doing it over and over and over again. We are moving forward. We are raising that bar. It's just a very slow and deliberate process.
Like pushing a chain, huh?
Like chasing chickens.
Yeah.
You just go everywhere.
Well, and that's something else too, that people don't have to necessarily use the same techniques to investigate. My personal opinion, I don't think people have to have the same techniques all over the place. I don't think everybody has to do things the same way, but I do think everything should be documented. So no matter how you do it, there's clear documentation of who was there. If you can, draw a map of the room and where they were sitting. Have everybody say their name before you start a burst session or an EVP session. I mean, just little things like that if everybody did the same, it would add validity to what's going on.
There's no process, and everybody thinks that their process is correct. Well, at least with the Endeavor Project, we can start establishing, a similar process for everyone. Anybody who's willing to do it, And I think once we have documents published too, people are gonna sit there and go, "Wow, that's a lot of information," but it's very simple information. It's the very basics of what we should be picking up anyway. Of course, when it comes back into us, we take it a couple steps further. We ask for zip code, but we go in and determine the weather information. We are using one site to do that. It was extremely expensive to link them to us, so this is going to be manually processed. And two, but that gives it tangibility. We are independently touching everything that comes to us. It's not just going to be fed in. Like I said, this is either going to be a tremendous success or it's going to be rejected completely. I'm down to see how it goes. It's been a lot of work, and I think we're on the right page. Also, people need to keep in mind that the Endeavor Project is a living document, and it's a living process because we're going to show trends, and we're going to need to start documenting those trends. There's going to be information that some people will want to add, some want to subtract because it's just not relevant. We're not getting anything from it. So this will be our opportunity to help it evolve.
But you're going to be careful about deleting information too, because that could just take more time too, correct?
Oh, correct. What we're going to do, is we're going to be reviewing our metrics. We'll be doing it at 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, and a year. That's how we're going to kind of graph it to see, what trends we're establishing. And if we see a lot of trends happening, you know, with limestone deposits and things like that, we might start asking, you know, to get closer coordinates like longitude, latitude. We might get more specific on that concentrated area. I personally, I foresee, you know, us getting a lot more participation back east and like in the south. Kind of seems like, you know, in the Midwest and the Western states, they're not as, they're active, but they're not as competitive as the southern areas like Texas. Texas is incredibly competitive with paranormal groups. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you would be surprised with Midwest.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm in Colorado. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 teams here that would probably participate, and then there's some fly-by-night, 1 or 2 people, you know, 1 or 2 people operations. You know, we need some credibility, you know, honesty, and that's the one thing that, you know, that's the one thing that can kill this project is if people aren't answering honestly. You know, it can lead us astray and it goes askew. And that's part of the reason why the people submitting the information have to be members of the NPS. So,
well, I'm hoping by the anonymous intake that will help people ensure some honesty about what's going on.
Right. Yeah, no, the anonymity should take away that stigmatism or paranoia about, you know, Sam in the Midwest has got, you know, PTSD from Desert Storm and he doesn't want to divulge that he's hearing things. What it'll be, like I said, you know, it's 25-year-old male, you know, and the question is on there, you know, if they've served in the military, yes or no, not when, or anything like that. Just to see, like, just to see if, you know, single white females in California are having more experiences than, you know, married 40-year-olds, you know, black women in Florida.
Well, and it's also going to have to tie back to the environment. I mean, we keep talking about, does the environment have anything to do with ports, railroads, water, you know, that type of thing. And by entering it more, not really specific, but more where we can categorize it and look at things, it's also going to help us determine, okay, well, do we have more activity near ley lines? Do we have less activity near ley lines? It's going to start giving us kind of, like you said, a trend where we can see what's really going on and what's going to lend to having, you know, more activity in another area.
Right. If elevation's got anything to do with it, I know that sounds ridiculous, but I mean, if there's a trend in that, if severe weather conditions, you know, was there more activity after, you know, a tornado, that type of stuff, you know, the barometric pressure. I worked with people that were profoundly mentally ill, and you would it would shock you how their behaviors would change when a severe thunderstorm would roll in. That barometric pressure dropped. It truly, physically affected them. And
there's also been talk about UFOs being tied to tremors and earthquakes.
Absolutely. You know, there's, like I said, there's right? It's just such a broad spectrum and so many questions and so many opportunities for us to help, you know, to help us like identify some integers that can help us move forward. I'm just hoping that people will take this opportunity to collaborate, you know, and I know this isn't for everyone, and I know some people think it's you know, it can't possibly help. Well,
yeah, but at the absolute worst, Candy, this is a starting point. At the absolute worst, this is a starting point. Whereas we're all kind of wandering around, bumping off the walls now, this is at least a starting point and going in a direction.
Absolutely. And and the nice thing is too, is we're going to be launching the NPS education tab. We've got resources like you cannot believe. We have documents that you're going to be able to utilize for yourself, your personal team. You know, a lot of things that people aren't thinking about. I know that most people hate doing paperwork, but it is such an important part of what we do. Document, you know. it's like running a business. It really is, and you have to look at it professionally, and you have to be organized, and you've got to have something to do with the data you're collecting. So, and the thing is too with the Endeavor intake, when you're doing the personal forms, it takes we average it's going to take between 5 to 6 minutes per person, because we want you to log each person with their physical, mental, spiritual, and then one time on the location. And there you have it, done and gone. You can sit there and actually do it with the client if you want to, or you can print the forms off and take them with you and make it a more personalized thing. But still, it starts to establish some kind of standard within the community, and that is something we just do not have.
Well, and I think also with the education forms coming out, it's going to start making people think about what all needs to be considered on their investigation. Because, like we said earlier, not everybody follows the same pattern. Not everybody documents the same things. And so now, if you're putting off the forms from NPS with the intention of putting it in Endeavor, now everybody is using the same form. It's something that's standard. We're all looking for the same measurements. We're all being able to compare it. It's starting to kind of set the baseline for some things.
And its time has come. I'd have to agree with that. I was curious where the next step would be, and I think you ladies have shown an entire community at least the direction we need to go in.
I think my timeline very would work for them.
Leave it to two control freaks to try to organize the unorganized.
Yeah, that's something. Kim has a very good theory about the anniversary dates, especially when it's for incidents that happen before leap years, or if people don't take into consideration leap years.
My thought is a lot of people go to crime scenes on anniversaries. Okay, Lizzie Borden killed her dad on this day, so we're going to Lizzie Borden's house on this day. If you remove all the leap years, which I know it takes math, but you have to remove all the leap years and the daylight savings time, and go back to where, say, instead of this event happened March 18th, maybe now it would be September 12th.
Right.
And go then and see if you don't get more than you do on the calendar date now.
Right. And two, that's right there is the thought process, the critical thinking that needs to go into some of our behaviors and our processes. The whole witching hour thing.
Right.
I'm Wiccan. Give me a break. Witching hour? What are you going to see? Somebody riding their broom around? There's no more activity at that point in time. It's actually, people have their preferences. We investigate during the day and at night. We investigate when the claims are substantial. And if somebody's having activity at 3:30 in the afternoon, why would I wait until 3 o'clock in the morning? Precisely.
One of the best EVPs I got was in a building when absolutely nobody was in there at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yep. Found my best EVP on the side of the road at a gravestone marker. And it was amazing. And it wasn't something I anticipated, because I was just afraid I was going to get ran over.
Well, what I did is I sat my recorder down on the furnace near a cistern, and we all left the building. We were across the road.
It was a wood-burning stove. It wasn't a furnace, but there's no electricity at the location anyway.
Mm-hmm.
This was at Morris Mills too, so it's an very active location.
That's cool. Well, and it's gotten so commercialized. Oh my gosh, all these haunted locations charging money. Come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, not everything's a haunted location. And for the love of God, folks, I want you to hear me say this out loud and say it now. Not everything is sacred Indian burial grounds. Give me a break. We don't tell you where they are. That's private to the people. After freaking poltergeist came out, everybody thinks their house or their existence is anything that's on top of, Indian burial grounds. Give me a break. Give me a break. I mean, you can contact the Bureau of Indian Affairs You can contact any of the local tribes. For starters, very few will ever tell you where anyone was ever buried. Secondarily, they're very few and far between. And part of the reason they're not disclosed is because of people going in there and taking things.
Right.
Taking things that don't belong to them.
Yep.
You know, I have heartache with that.
Well, that's like our last trip to Jefferson when the last location we went into, they had dug some digging around their location, like in the flower bed, and they found the big end of a femur bone of a human. And they walked into our group and they're like, well, here, you want to hold it? And I'm like, oh, hell no. I don't even get that near me.
The thing that got me the worst, though, was after she's trying to pass this bone around, she's like, we didn't call the cops. We're going to go ahead and have it tested ourselves. But if it comes back human, we'll smudge the bag. Not actually put it back with the rest of the bones. They'll just leave it in the bag and smudge the bag.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. I'd have called the cops myself. For starters, that's a felony. Felony. That is a felony. You don't know these freaks. Oh, my God.
This was found on property where people had family buried before. These are huge old plantation houses that we're talking about in Jefferson. It's just so creepy. I'm not so sure it's illegal, but it's creepy. And it's creepy. For me to say it's creepy is creepy. It's real creepy.
That is so spiritually unclean.
Thank you.
Even the para badass would think that's creepy, and I don't think he would have touched the bone.
Well, it's not to touch it. It's to remove it from where it was. Who gave you the right? You know, I honestly, if I was an Egyptian pharaoh, I'd be haunting the hell out of a lot of people.
You
know, going in and digging up my gravesite. That's one of the reasons I want to be cremated. I don't want crazy people to come dig me up someday.
And
you know
put
what I mean?
you on display in a museum.
No, I mean, where is the peace? I mean, how do you get to go? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know the body's just a shell once you leave it. I truly did. I believe that. But to defile somebody else's resting place, like if somebody went and dug something up of one of my ancestors or my family, I'd beat you half to death. Seriously, I don't care what you call yourself. You're going to call yourself bruised is what you're going to call yourself.
Well, she's walking around with it in a Ziploc.
That's not right.
It's creepy.
And you know what? That is emotionally not right. Secondarily, that is I think that's one of the most disrespectful things I've ever heard.
Absolutely.
I don't know who this person is, and if you've got a problem with it, you know, you can have my private email address. You can have my phone number. I will tell you that that's uncouth.
Yeah.
That's totally uncouth. You know, and that's one of the things that we are suffering from in this field is a lack of respect and common sense.
Yes,
you know,
ma'am.
A, if it's not yours, don't touch it. B, you know, don't. That was probably somebody that someone somewhere loved. Yep. You know what I mean? It could have been somebody's brother, sister, mother, father, child.
And it could have very well been somebody thought was a total, complete a-hole, too. But that doesn't mean you go, if you find a bone, you dig it up and you walk around and parade it in front of people. That's just creepy.
Right.
So,
I know your badass might break a couple of bones.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he knows where there's some buried. I'm pretty sure. I got nothing but love for you, Deegan. I got nothing but love for you. But, ladies, I want to thank you both for coming on tonight. Sheri, I know you're at an investigation right now.
Yep.
Let's remind everybody, your show is on Thursday nights, DNS Live. It's at
8 o'clock Eastern. We're going to finish going through some Investigation 101 the next 2 weeks, and then after that we're going to actually do some live investigations, and we're going to show you how important it is to fill out the Form 1 education that you're in Endeavor and how it applies to your investigation.
Yep. And Miss Candy, your show, NPS Focus, is on Thursday nights at
9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This coming week, we are going to be working on Ancient Mysteries. Our first guest is going to be David Malin out of the UK. We look forward to the mysteries of Europe. We are so excited to have his insight. It's going to be very refreshing, not just, looking at this bucket list on the internet, having him actually tell us about the sites he's gotten to go to.
Is he going to have some crazy hair?
I don't think so. I think he's kind of, he's very astute, very clean cut, very Ministry of Defense kind of person.
Yeah.
I'm just thrilled.
Okay, guys. Thanks you both for coming on. Both of you stick around for a second while we get out of here. Everybody tune in tomorrow. We're going to have repeats of all of our live shows this week, so if you missed anything, tune in tomorrow.
And next Friday, you're going to have to tune in and watch something we already did because we're going fishing. It's our anniversary.
And actually, next Friday, everybody can tune in because there's going to be Real Paranormal TV Palooza. We're going to play 5 of his episodes back to back to back all day long.
Have a wonderful, happy 4th of July.
Be safe.
And we're out of here.
Bye.
See ya.